to do, but Daksha kept in his mind, and he was becoming more and more angry, envious about Shiva. And then Daksha conducted one more yajna. And then this yajna, he invited everyone except Shiva. So everyone is going to this yajna, and then Parvati can see, Sati Devi can actually see all the airplanes flying on top of their place, and then she can see that everyone, all the women are dressed nicely with all the ornaments and everything. And she felt tempted. And after all, this is attachment, this attachment to the home of mother and father. So she wanted to go. So this is how the discussion is going on. So she is slowly requesting Lord Shiva to allow her to go to this yajna. So, and of course, Lord Shiva says, no, you better don't go. And then this is what Sati Devi is saying. Oh, best of demigods, how can the body of a daughter remain undisturbed when she hears some festive event is taking place in father's house, even though you might be considering that I have not been invited? And then she gives this justification and saying that maybe they just forgot to invite me. They have been so busy inviting everyone. They forgot to invite me. And also the Shastra says that one can go to anyone's house if it is one's friend, husband, spiritual master, or a father without any invitation. So that's how Sati Devi is trying to convince Shiva. Next verse. Anyone want to read this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
Tanme prasidedam amartya vanchitam kartum bhavan karuniko bhatarhati vayat mano ardhe aham adhabra chakshusa nirupita manugrahana yachitaha. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Translation of Vrishabhanu Mataji. Rohini Mataji, can you call out the names, please?
Okay, Mataji. Yes.
Vrishabhanu Mataji, you read the translation.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. O immortal Shiva, please be kind towards me and fulfill my desire. You have accepted me as half of your body. Therefore, please show kindness towards me and accept my request. Hare Krishna.
So, Mother Sati is continuing, and she's saying that please be kind towards me. And then she reminds him that you have accepted me as your half of your body. So Lord Shiva is also famously known as, it is said that Lord Shiva has got about 64 different forms, and one of the form is Ardhanarishwara. Ardhanarishwara means half of the body is Lord Shiva and another half is Sati Devi. So the reason he accepts this Ardhanarishwara is because to show that how closely they are related. Prakriti and Purusha, the source of energy and the Prakriti. So without Shakti, there is no meaning of Shaktiman. And without Shaktiman, the Shakti doesn't exist. So just to show an example, this is how it is. And also you can see in so many of our temples in South India, temples we can see this Lord Shiva as Ardhanarishwara. It's a famous in so many temples in South India. So Sati Devi is continuing. She is putting a request. Next verse, Mataji.
Chandana Mataji, could you read the shloka and Anusuya Mataji the translation, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam, Guruji. Rishir uvacha evam giritra priyaya Vibhasitaha pratyabhyadatta prahasan suhrit priyaha samsmarito marma hidha puvagishun yanaha ko vishvasrijam samakshataha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva, the deliverer of the hill Kailasha, having thus been addressed by his dear wife, replied smilingly, although at the same time he remembered the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before the gardens of the universal affairs. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you want the purport to be read?
Yeah. We'll read a little bit from the purport. Yes. Actually, the whole purport is very important.
Yes. Vasudha Mataji, please read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Lord Shiva heard from his wife about Daksha, the psychological effect was that he immediately remembered the strong words spoken against him in the assembly of the guardians of the universe, and remembering those words, he was sorry at heart, although to please his wife, he smiled. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that a liberated person is always in mental equilibrium in both the distress and the happiness of this material world. Therefore, the question may now be raised by a liberated personality like Lord Shiva was so unhappy because of the words of Daksha. The answer is given by Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura. Lord Shiva is Atma Rama, or situated in complete self-realization. But because he is the incarnation in charge of the material mode of ignorance, tamoguna, he is sometimes affected by the pleasure and pain of the material world. The difference between the pleasure and pain of the material world and that of the spiritual world is that in the material world, the effect is qualitatively absolute. Therefore, one may feel sorry in but the manifestation of so-called pain is always full of bliss. For instance, once Lord Krishna, sorry,
Yeah. In
I
his
miss. Yeah, thank you. Once Lord Krishna, in his childhood, was chastised by his mother, Yasoda, and Lord Krishna cried. But although he shed tears from his eyes, this is not to be considered a reaction of the mode of ignorance, for the incident was full of transcendental pleasure. When Krishna was playing in so many ways, sometimes it appeared that he caused distress to the gopis, but actually such dealings were full of transcendental bliss. This is the difference between the material and spiritual worlds. The spiritual world, where everything is pure, is perfectly reflected in this material world. Since everything in the spiritual world is absolute in the spiritual varieties of apparent pleasure and pain, there is no perception other than eternal bliss. Whereas in the material world, because everything is contaminated by the mode of the material nature, there are feelings of pleasure and pain. Therefore, because Lord Shiva, although a full self-realized person, was in the charge of material mode of ignorance, he felt sorrow. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mother, can you go up to the beginning of the purport? Yeah. So this is an interesting bit Prabhupada actually explains. It is actually said that two tattvas are very difficult to understand, and one is Guru Tattva and next is Shiva Tattva. How Lord Shiva is actually not a living Jiva, material entity, and he is still, he's not, he's actually like in between the material world and the spiritual world. So Mahesh Dham is situated. So here Shiva feels, so this is the, and Prabhupada explains in this purport the difference between the spiritual world and material world. How everything is becomes like, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Urdhamula Madashakam Ashwatam Prahuravayam Chendam Siyasya Parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavid. He says there is a banyan tree going with roots upwards and the trees branches downwards. So in material world, everything is like perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So that's why even though Lord Shiva is in charge of Tamoguna, he sometimes gets affected by it. That's what it says. We also see one more instance of when Lord Shiva getting affected by this instance is when Bhrigu Rishi went to the spiritual world. There was, I think, one time there was a discussion among all the rishis, and they wanted to find out who is actually the Supreme Lord. And their definition of Supreme Lord is who is beyond all the modes of material nature. So Bhrigu goes to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all these three people to test them. So first he goes to Brahma, and then he says some rude words or something, and Brahma immediately gets angry. And then Bhrigu says, okay, Brahma is not supreme. Then he goes to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva also, he just says something, and Lord Shiva was so angry, he was about to, he takes up his trident and he is about to shoot at him. So, and then he goes to Lord Vishnu, and then he directly goes to Vishnu and he kicks on the chest of the Vishnu. And then Vishnu was not at all disturbed. In fact, he started massaging the feet of Bhrigu Rishi and saying that, my dear Rishi, your feet is so soft that it might have been got hurt by my chest, like that. So sometimes Lord Shiva, it's as Prabhupada explains, gets affected by this. But otherwise, most of the time, Lord Shiva is actually Atma Rama. Atma Ramascha Muniya Nirgandamapi Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim Itambhuta Gunohari. Atma Rama means he is self-satisfied, and he is not, and he's always meditating. He is always meditating on Sankarshan and Anantadev. And then he's immersed in his meditation. So, and he's not interested in anything worldly, material world, but sometimes it shows. And also, it's interesting, in the last, actually, if you remember, in the last chapter, how many words Daksha said? Anyone remembers? So many bad things he said about Shiva. He says, he told Shiva that, Shiva, you're shameless, he says. You are proud. And he says, Yasho Ghana, you destroyed the fame of Lokapalas, polluted the path of gentle manners. And then he says, Sadhuvad, pretending to be a honest person, accepted my daughter's hands and thus accepted himself as my subordinate. And then Markatalochana, this is too much. He calls, Daksha is calling Shiva as Markatalochana. He's got eyes like that of a monkey. And then in comparison, he says, my daughter, her eyes, she's so beautiful like lotus and all that, he says. And then Lupta Kriyaya, doesn't perform rituals. Actually, the Acharyas explain all the explanation of actual meaning of all this, the real meanings. So when, for example, when it says, he says, you are impure, and then the Acharya explain, no one is actually cleaner than him. And then he says, you are proud. And then Acharya explain, he is not actually proud. And then he says, Binna Setave, violates code of conduct. And then Acharya explain, he doesn't break any rules. So like that, he said so many things. So Lord Shiva still remembers all this, suddenly remembered all this. And then he was not happy for Sati to go there, because he thought, because of her connection with me, they might offend her and then she might get affected. That's what he was thinking. So yeah, we'll go to next person.
Sharmila Mataji, you could read the shloka, and Divya Mataji, the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Tvayoditam Shobhanam Eva Shobhane Anahuta Api Abhiyanti Bandhushu Te Yadi Anutpadita Dosha Drishtayo Baliyasanatmya Madena Manyuna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The great Lord replied, my dear beautiful wife, you have said that one may go to friend's house without being invited, This is true, provided such friend does not find fault with the guest because of the bodily identification and thereby become angry towards him. Purport. Lord Shiva could foresee that as soon as Sati reached her father's house, her father, Daksha, being too puffed up because of bodily identification, would be angry at her presence, and although she was innocent and faultless, he would be mercilessly angry towards her. Lord Shiva warned that since her father was too puffed up by his material possession, he would be angry and this would be intolerable for her. Therefore, it was better that she not go. This fact was already experienced by Lord Shiva because although Lord Shiva was faultless, Daksha had cursed him in so many harsh words. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. So Lord Shiva can actually see what is happening. So now there is a famous book written by some author. It became very famous, and basically that name of the book is "Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus." So basically, end of the day, what it says in the book is, woman's nature is more emotional. She's more emotional. She's more loving, and she has this attachment, which is natural. And then men are more logical. So here, Lord Shiva can actually think what is going to happen. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bhramshat Buddhinasho Pranashati. Says that when someone is angry, for example, now Daksha is angry, when someone is angry, so from anger, delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And intelligence is lost, one falls down in pride and envy. And resultant anger makes one blaspheme and often exalted personalities. So, and great souls, so great souls exemplify the quality of tolerance. So Lord Shiva exemplified this. He tolerated all this, and then he just walked out from this place. But then he's warning Lord Parvati. Actually, it is said again elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 15. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priya hitam chayat. Austerity of speech consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others. And also it is said that blaspheming others. Actually, there is one interesting story. One day there was a king, a very pious king. He was distributing prasad, so that's what he does every day, Annadan. And then opulent prasadam, he prepares wonderful prasadam and he's distributing. So like what you call 10 course or 20 course meals or what, sweets and everything. And then he's feeding the brahmanas. Then what happened during that time, there was an eagle flying, and eagle, it had caught a snake. So the eagle caught a snake, and the snake is almost dead. So the eagle was flying from above, and the snake, it was almost dying. Then it spit out some of its venom from its mouth, and the venom actually fell in the rice that's being offered to the brahmanas. And no one saw this. And then a couple of brahmanas had the prasadam, and they just straight away died. And then after a few days, so Yamadutas are coming around, and they were thinking, oh, this is killing a brahmana is very grievous crime. Now we should actually give this. Whom should we give this? What do you call to? Who is to blame for this? They are thinking. And they are looking around, and they thought, is king responsible? They thought, no, but king is doing what is really the nice thing. He's absolutely no idea that it's going to happen. So king is not responsible, they thought. And then what about eagle? They thought, eagle, it's just eating its prey. It's carrying its food. So there's nothing wrong. What about snake? And they thought, snake, what? Snake is almost dead. It doesn't have any control on its body parts or anything. It doesn't even know that poison is coming out. So the Yamadutas, they're just thinking, whom should we punish for this one? They're thinking like this. And then after a few days, another set of brahmanas, they were walking by. And then on the side of the road, there was an old woman sitting. And then they asked that old woman, Mataji, can you please show us where is this place for this king's residence where he distributes prasadam? And that old woman showed, this is the direction she showed. And so she said, but be careful. I know you're going there to have prasadam, nice prasadam, but that king, he is known to kill brahmanas by poisoning them. And the moment she said that, the Yamaduta said, okay, all right, we got, now we know who is the actual sinner and we can take her back. So all the sin has been transferred to that old woman. So this is how karma actually acts. Karma acts by, not only just by actions, it also acts by words. It is said that the words of envious persons, if someone is physically wounded, the wounds heal and they'll get better. But the words of envious people, they will continue to torment a person till the end of this life. In the Shrimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 23, is chapter is called the Song of Avanti Brahmana. So in the Avanti Brahmana, there is a nice verse. It says, Na tata tapyate viddaha puman banestu manmagahe yata tudanti marmastha he astam purusharshavam. Sharp arrows which pierces one's chest and reach the heart do not cause as much suffering as the arrows of harsh, insulting words that become lodged within the heart. And they continue to actually make people suffer as long as they live. So that's why, again, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that anadvega karam vasyam. So the speech should be pleasing to others, truthful, like that. So anyway, Lord Shiva is listening, and then he's trying to persuade Sati not to go there. Let's see, next verse, Mataji. Let's see what happens.
Anita Mataji, please could you read the shloka and the translation, and Archana Mataji can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. विद्यातपवित्तवपूर्वय कुलैः सतां गुणैः षद्भिर्हसतं मेत्तरैः स्मृतौ हतायामृतमाणदुर्दृशः स्तब्धा न पश्यन्ति हि धाम भूयसाम्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Although the six qualities, education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage, are for the highly elevated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It may be argued that since Daksha was very learned, wealthy, and austere, and had descended from a very exalted heritage, how could he be unnecessarily angry towards another? The answer is that when the qualities of good education, good parentage, beauty, and sufficient wealth are misplaced in a person who is puffed up by all these possessions, they produce a very bad result. Milk is a very nice food, but when milk is touched by an envious serpent, it becomes poisonous. Similarly, material assets such as education, wealth, beauty, and good parentage are undoubtedly nice, but when they decorate persons of a malicious nature, then they act adversely. Another example given by Chanakya Pandita is that a serpent that has a jewel on its head is still fearful because it is a serpent. A serpent by nature is envious of other living entities, even though they be faultless. When a serpent bites another creature, it is not necessarily because the other creature is at fault. It is the habit of the serpent to bite innocent creatures. Similarly, although Daksha was qualified by many material assets because he was proud of his possessions and because he was envious, all those qualities were polluted. It is therefore sometimes detrimental for a person advancing in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness to possess such material assets. Kunti Devi, while offering prayers to Krishna, addressed him as Akinchana Gochara, one who is easily approached by those who are bereft of all material acquisitions. Material exhaustion is an advantage for advancement in Krishna consciousness. Although if one is conscious of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can utilize one's material assets, such as great learning and beauty and exalted ancestry, for the service of the Lord. Then such assets become glorious. In other words, unless one is Krishna conscious, all his material possessions are zero. But when this zero is by the side of the Supreme One, it is at once increases in value to 10. Unless situated by the side of Supreme One, zero is always zero. One may add 100 zeros, but the value will still remain zero. Unless one's material assets are used in Krishna consciousness, they may play havoc and degrade the possessor. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So again, an amazing purport by Srila Prabhupada. So, sorry, can you put the beginning of the purport? Yeah, so Prabhupada gave so many examples. So when milk is a nice food, but when milk is touched by a serpent, it becomes poison. So there's a cup of milk, and then someone adds a poison to it. You can't actually treat it or call it a milk. It is actually a poison. Because of just a few drops of poison, the whole milk becomes poison. Similarly, all the material assets, education, wealth, beauty, and good parentage are nice, but when the consciousness of the person is not right, then they actually become a hindrance to this person, and actually it can take them down, degrade them. And also Prabhupada gets one more wonderful example. A serpent has a jewel on its head, but still it's fearful because it's serpent. Actually, there is one interesting incident. When Prabhupada was there with his Guru Maharaj Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the ashram, there's a snake has come. And then all the ashramvasis, they are running here and there, what to do. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, kill it, just kill the snake. So, and then Prabhupada understood that envious person is like a snake. So snake, for no reason, actually bites others. So similarly, actually there is, Chanakya says that a snake bite can be cured by giving mantras or by some herbs or some medicine or something. And then the snake has poison only in its fangs. So if the fangs are removed, the snake actually becomes harmless. Whereas the envious person, he's got poison completely all over his body. So, and then Chanakya explains that nothing can actually cure him, remove the poison or the envy from his body. No medicines, nothing, except of course devotional service if he comes to there. So that's why Kunti Maharani also says that Akinchana Gochara. She calls Krishna as Akinchana Gochara. In the prayers of Queen Kunti, we see Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shribir Edamadam Idapuma Swam Akinch. What is it? Gochara. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself, they cannot, with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, body beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So this is a declaration by Kunti Maharani. And then also there's a nice verse. Vyadasya, what is that verse? Padyavali. There's a hunter. Vyadasya Charan, Truvasya Charan. Sorry, I can't remember the words. But anyway, it says the author gives so many examples. He gives the example of hunter. He gives the example of Dhruv Maharaj. And then he gives the example of Gajendra. He gives the example of, anyone know that words? He gives the example of Ugrasen. He gives the example of Vidura. And then he also gives the example of Kubja. So all these people, and then finally says, all these people, how does they get mercy from the Lord? So Dhruv Maharaj is only 5-year-old. And the hunter, he doesn't have any good background. And then Ugrasen, he is not a Vaidya at all, but he's been made king. And then Vidura, he is the son of a maid servant. And then Kubja, she is just a hunchback lady. So, and then Gajendra is after all an animal. So how all these people, they got the mercy of the Lord? It says, Bhakta dushyati kevalam nachaguner bhakti priyo madhavam. Says, because the Lord actually sees only the devotion. He wants only the devotion, because otherwise, before going to Vidura's house, Lord Krishna was invited by Duryodhana. And Duryodhana came to Krishna and said, I have prepared such a nice food and everything, all the arrangements for you, please come. And Krishna said, sorry, thank you very much, I'm not hungry. Or like we say when we go to parties or outside, sorry, I'm fasting today. Something like that. And then he came to Vidura's house, and he was, what was he doing there? He is actually relishing the banana peels. So that is the greatness of Lord. So that's why the Supreme Lord is called Akinchana Gochara. So, and then, so that's why Prabhupada explains in the purport that one can utilize one's material assets such as great learning, beauty, exalted ancestry for the service of the Lord. Because at the end of the day, as Prabhupada again explains in the purport wonderfully, everything that we possess in this world, the beauty, education, high parentage, everything, are compared to zeros. Unless we have Krishna, which is like a one in front of all the zeros, doesn't matter you have 100 zeros. Unless there is a one in the front, then there is no value to the zeros. Because at the end of the day, said man comes from the dust and goes back to the dust. So when you come here, you come empty-handed. And when you go back, you go empty-handed. I don't know, there's a story whether it's true or not, but it is said that when Alexander passed away, he told his people to take him in a position, and in the position he said that to show his hands open like this and then throw all the money. So which means that basically he was trying to conquer the world, but at the end of the day when he's going, he is not taking anything with him. So that's what it is. Yeah, thank you. We'll go to the next question. Sorry, so for any questions or comments, or we can take it at the end also, but yeah.
Prabhuji, we can take it at the end.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this first one, yeah, 18.
Krishnamurti Prabhuji, please can you read the shloka and the translation, and Anusuya Mataji can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Na ye tadrushanam swajana vyapekshaya grahan pratiyat anavastita atmanam ye abhyagatan vakradhiya abhikshate aropita bhrubhihi amarhana akshibhihi. Am I right, Prabhuji?
Yes, wonderful.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. One should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of his being a relative or a friend. When the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. However low a person may be, he is never unkind to his children, wife, and nearest kin. Even a tiger is kind to its cubs, for within the animal kingdom, the cubs are treated very nicely. Since Sati was the daughter of Daksha, however cruel and contaminated he might be, naturally it was expected that he would receive her very nicely. But here it is indicated by the word anavastita, that such a person cannot be trusted. Tigers are very kind to their cubs, but it is also known that sometimes they eat them. Malicious persons should not be trusted because they are always unsteady. Thus, Sati was advised not to go to her father's house because to accept such a father as a relative and to go to his house without being properly invited was not suitable. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So this is what it is. You see the example of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, initially he was very nice to Prahlad Maharaj. He took him in his lap and he was asking. The moment he said that you had to go to forest, Vrindavan, and then worship on Vishnu, then he got angry and then he wanted to actually kill his own son. So that is the nature of a envious person. And similarly, like Kamsa also. Kamsa was taking his sister in a chariot so nicely. So Devaki. And then suddenly there's a Akashvani, and then he heard a voice. And then the Akashvani said, Kamsa, this eighth child of your sister, she is going to kill you. And immediately his reaction changed. Immediately he caught hold of the hair of his sister and he was able to kill her. So this is the nature of envious people. The moment there something comes in the way of their sense gratification or happiness, they are ready to do the worst possible things. So that's why Prabhupada says, a envious person cannot be trusted. So, and similarly malicious persons. So, and then also here there's a talk about going to someone's house uninvited, or if the person doesn't like you being there. For example, there is one more story Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to tell, that there's a grihastha, nice grihastha. So he used to invite all the brahmacharis, everyone to home for lunch and dinner and all that. But his wife, she was not Krishna conscious and she was not happy with all these people coming. So one time what happened, they all came. And then they were sitting, and then husband was not there. She was alone. So she thought, okay, let me take, this is my chance. And she invited all of them and then made them sit nicely. And then she started telling that, can you please wait here? I want to tell you something. I said, yeah, please tell us what is it. Says, my husband is a very dangerous person. He actually invites everyone, and then he attacks them with this in the kitchen. What do you call that? You use the tongue. And with the tongue to for holding the vessels and all that. So this lady said, my husband has this habit of burning these tongs on a stove, very hot, and then he's going to use those tongs and put on someone's nose and pull them. So hearing all this, the Brahmacharis, they got scared, and they all got up and said, we are going, Mataji will not come again, and they are going. When they are leaving, the husband came and said, why they are going? And this Mataji said, what to do? I just told them to sit, and they are not sitting. And then I told them that, and they were asking for this tongue, and then she showed him. And I told them, no, I can't give them this tongue because this is from my kitchen and I need to use it every day. And the husband got angry. Oh, they just wanted a tongue and you're not giving them. What is this? And he took the tongue from the wife's hand and then he started running behind all these brahmacharis. Please wait for me. You wanted this, I'll give. So the brahmacharis, they saw this person running after them behind with the tongue. They really got scared and they kept running more. So like that, if you go to someone's house, it's not invited, then you get into all kinds of these troubles. So that's what Lord Shiva was trying to tell. Yeah, next.
Prabhuji, it is still 18 or 19? Mataji told me 18.
Why is it? No, I thought 19. I was told 19.
Okay, Mataji told me till it is 18, but if you wish, I can show the 19 shloka.
We'll do 19 because I thought it was like a set.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll share the screen, yes.
Yes, anyone want to read?
Param Prabha Mataji, can you please read the shloka and the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yadate Shilimukaihi, Ete Dhitango Hridayena Doyata, Swanam Yatha Vakra Vidhiyam Darapibihir, Devanisham Sapyati Marmataditaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Lord Shiva continued. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, purport can be read by Shobha HR Mataji. You can read the translation.
Yes, Mataji. Translation by Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Shiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative. For such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna, purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sati might have concluded that she would take the risk of going to her father's house, and even if her father spoke unkindly against her, she would be tolerant, as a son sometimes tolerates the reapproaches of his parents. But Lord Shiva reminded her that she would not be able to tolerate such unkind words because natural psychology dictates that although one can suffer harm from an enemy and not mind so much, because pain inflicted by an enemy is natural. When one is hurt by the strong words of a relative, one suffers the effects continually, day and night, and sometimes the injury becomes so intolerant that one commits suicide. Haribol, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, so same thing that we already discussed, no? Lord Shiva is actually saying, one is hurt by the arrows of enemy and not so much aggrieved. Because the words, they have so much effect. Even when we see, like on a busy market or road or on a traffic jams or something, there's an accident or something, and one of the drivers says some harsh word, and then that actually leads to big fight. There's so many things happen. So that's why we have to be very tolerant. We have to control our tongue. And then this continues to affect. So that's why it says harsh words are like the second arrow. Means if one gets shot by arrow, then the pain is hard to tolerate. But then if on top of it, if one gets one more arrow shot, then it becomes unbearable. Similarly, these words are like a time bomb. They're always burning in the heart of the people. So that's what Lord Shiva is telling, that you may, Sati Mata, that you may not be able to tolerate those words, he was telling. So we'll stop here. Any questions or comments, please?
If there's no question, then
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Subha Mataji. Yeah, Mataji, please.
Thank you, Mataji. Pranams, Prabhuji.
Hare
Prabhuji, in today's lesson, we got to learn that we have to obey our husbands first. Prabhuji, and the second thing, Prabhuji, we are told not to expect any respect from others. Whether they treat you good or very badly also, you should not take consideration of that. So sometimes I have a question, Prabhuji. There are some people around us who invite us for the sake of inviting, Prabhuji. But on a daily basis, they do not have any kind of reciprocation with us. So how should we, what should we do, Prabhuji, when we are invited in such things? So should we go and partake for the prasadam or anything that for the puja they do? How should we do, Prabhuji?
For the sake of social obligations, you can, and if it is possible, if it's not disturbing your daily sadhana, spiritual sadhana or anything, and you have time, and to maintain some sort of cordiality or things like that, you can go. And then, what do they say that no, just for namesake. So you can go and then show your face, and then you can just come back. So similarly, all these customs and traditions, local customs and traditions that we follow, we just continue to do because the whole neighborhood, everyone is doing. But as Vaishnavas, we don't actually relish doing those things, worshipping other devatas and things like that. But still, if you don't do the people might question, or they might say something that, oh, you ISKCON people, you don't do this or this. So just for the sake of namesake, and also our consciousness on the Lord, just do those acts, and then they'll leave the rest. So that's the best way.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
My doubt is unrelated to this. So when we are in Dham or we are going to Dham and someone a relative expires, what exactly should we do, Prabhuji? Should we come back or stop?
Yeah, depends on how close, how much attached to that particular relative, and also some. If you're really attached and you cannot, you won't have the last look or the darshan or something of that relative, you go back. And also how your emotions or moods are going to be. For example, you ignore the news and go to the dham. But in the dham, instead of worshipping the Lord, you are actually thinking about the relative, and then you're going in front of the deities and then you're crying. So crying in front of deities is good, but on a wrong intention, that is not very good. So that's why it is said that we generally follow this system of 10 days, 12 days, Sutakam and all that, so that when we go and when we are doing devotional service, then we go in front of the deities in a pleasant mood, not go in front of them and then cry and all that. Because the deities, they are actually, you have to understand, they are actually, even though we cannot feel them, they can actually see us and they can feel us. And so you don't want to disturb them. So that is the nature. Shiva Thakur in Shiva Shangan is one day the kirtan was going on. Nice. So you know the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every day they used to, in Shiva Sangha, they used to do the kirtan. So one day the kirtan was going on, and after long time passed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shiva Thakur that I see something wrong happen. What is it? And Shiva Thakur said nothing. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you tell me what happened. And then said, my son passed away. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was shocked. Why didn't you tell me this before? I said, because I don't want to disturb the kirtan and also disturb you like that. So that is our mood. So yeah, what do you think, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. So right now my situation is I need to go to Tirupati, and anyhow I attended when he expired, but in the last days, the exact dates it has been on the days when I had to go to the dham. So I just wanted to know what exactly should I do, Prabhuji.
So you had a last look.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And then you can continue to go to the dham, unless you have the responsibility of family responsibility of doing some other maintaining, helping the family or the obligations, like that. If there are other people who are able to take care of all those normal activities and maintenance of things like that, because in India generally when someone passes away, it's not anywhere actually in the world, it's not an easy thing. It's not just about loss and the emotions and all that. There's also some money, physical expenses involved. So you try to help them because they may not have suddenly the money in the bank or something, and to do all these things, they need some money, 10th day, 11th day, 12th day, or Karmakanda, and all these brahmanas, pujas. So you just help them some financially or something or whatever, and then you can go to the dham.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think no more questions, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, usually now because it's Damodar month, by the end of the someone shares their Damodar deity and another devotee sings this Damodar Ashtakam. So if you wish, you can stay back, Prabhuji.
Yes, very nice. Thank you.
Would anyone like to show their Damodar deity? Mataji's, Prabhuji's, anyone?
Yeah, I'll show Mataji.
And who will sing the Ashtakam today? Can someone volunteer, please?
Will I, Mataji?
May I,
Yes,
Mataji?
please.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Give me 2 minutes, Mataji. I'll just take out the patient. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Jigisa Mataji showing the deity.
Can I start, Mataji?
Yes, please, yes.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् सुरसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् यशोदाभियोलोकलाभवमानम् परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो द्रुतगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं रुजन्तम् कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सतङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुश्वासकम्पत्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठा स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषितज्ञेषु भक्तजितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतावृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरे सादपीह इदं देव पुण्णाधा गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्या विरस्तां किमन्ये इदन्ते मुखाम्बोजमत्यन्तनीलये वृतं कुन्तलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मोहश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरथाधरं मे मनस्या विरस्तामलं लक्षलाभैः नमो देवदामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलादिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवृष्ट्यातिदिनं बतानो गृहाणे समामज्ञामे दक्षिदृश्य कुबेरात्मजो भद्रमुतेव यद्वत् वयामोचितो भक्तिभजो कृतो च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकमे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते धाम्ने स्फुरद्दीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाध विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्राजमानम् यशोदाभियोलोकलाभवमानम् परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो द्रुतगोप्या नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपम् लसत् कुण्डलं गोकुले Rajamanam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Wonderful, Mataji.
Thank you, Jigisha Mataji, Meenakshi Mataji, Suma Mataji, and Parampara Mataji. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, with your permission, can I end the call?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Kripa Sindhu Vaivecha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare.
Thank you, Mataji.